Welcome, customer. Pleasure doing business. May it help you kill? I'm sure we'll be doing this again soon enough.
girlfriend of yours? Could you go say hi to her?
Lock and load. Check back later to see my new weapon of the day.
You are awesome! Didn't you fight Terramorphous? I fought a big creature like that once. He was a big whale squid with 100 tentacles. You ever thought anything with tentacles? Oh, of course you have. Terramorphous had tentacles. How silly of me. Now, where was I?
I am so sorry!
All right, the whale creature. His name was Blowhole the Apocalypse. I called him the Apocalypse for short. And he attacked my hometown of Tsunami's Edge when I was but a little girl. You ever been to Tsunami's Edge? Great town, nice beaches, great food, and the cost of living is just so low. Even being a single grandmother and working part-time in a scat meat processing factory, I was still able to provide for little Mr. Torg. We may not have been able to afford the finer things in life, like food, but we got by. After all, Mr. Torg and I didn't have anything but one another after that horrible gas leak blew up the iridium mine, killing my son and his lovely wife. From that day onward, my little Mr. Torg vowed to conquer explosions themselves in an effort to avenge his fallen parents, and... oh man, I forgot what I was talking about. Where was... oh right, the Blowhole the Apocalypse! So anyway, I was wrestling Blowhole to the ground, and I have my bicep curled around his blueberry throat. Blueberry? Sorry, I meant to say blubbery. I've got blueberries on the brain, I guess. I grow them in my backyard. Mr. Torg helped me plant them. Thanks again for that, grandson.
I love you, Grandma!
Anyway, I have my bicep around his blubbery throat, and Mr. Torg starts crying because he really likes whale squids, and he doesn't want to see me hurt one.
They are the princes of the ocean!
So I let the whale go after giving it a punch in the eyeball so he'll remember me, and it swam away into the ocean. And then I had Mr. Torg drive me to the ice cream parlor. He got me Rocky Road, because Rocky Road's my favorite. I'm extremely partial to the way the marshmallows act like little landmines of flavor amidst the battleground of chocolate. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Is it pistachio? I bet it's pistachio. Oh, that reminds me! You'll never guess who I saw today! Pistachio the Amazing! He's a magician who studied under Crazy Earl, so he's got that weird mustache, you know, but I saw him make a rack hive disappear. A whole rack hive! I said to Mr. Torg, Mr. Torg, wasn't that amazing? And he said, yes, it was, Grandma. Didn't you say that, High Five? You remember saying that?
I remember, Grandma.
And we stood in line afterward and got his autograph, and I thought I had it somewhere around here, but it's probably in the attic. I really ought to go up there and clean it out one of these days. I have so many little keepsakes up there. You're paying attention, right? Say, what's my favorite flavor of ice cream? Oh, so you are listening. How wonderful. You're an even better listener than my old pet rack, Beasto. Beasto was such a sweetie. You ever had a pet rack? If you can tame them, they are the sweetest pet you'll ever have. He used to just sit on my shoulder and bite chunks of flesh out of my neck to pass the time. I still remember the way he used to tweet. He went, tweet, tweet. It was so cute. I had a conversation with him once. I said, Mr. Beasto. He liked being called Mr. Beasto. It made him feel like an aristocrat. I said, Mr. Beasto, you're looking very cute today. And he said, oh, thank you. That's so nice. Or he tweeted in a way that made me know that's how he felt. And then he lowered his little head like he was taking a bow. It was adorable. Beasto was my third pet rack. First I had Woody. He got hit by a train. Then I had Anita. She got shot up trying to take vengeance on the train that killed Woody. And then I found Beasto making little poops on the windmill outside our house. After Mr. Torg and I wrestled her to the ground, I did a flying pile driver off a nearby tower tree. Got him straight in the spine and brought him down. We brought him in and fed him some skag steaks until he decided he loved us. I still miss Beasto sometimes. He just died of old age. Racks don't live much longer than a few years, but I treasured the time we had together. Poor Mr. Torg. When Beasto died, he cried for a week. The kids made fun of him at school, but I told him not to pay them any mind.
Being in touch with your emotions is not a character flaw!
That's right, High Five. Is something wrong? You look confused, Vault Hunter. Oh, you probably haven't heard anyone call Mr. Torg High Five before. The world may know him as Mr. Torg, but the Flexingtons always refer to him using his middle name. It's a Flexington family tradition, after all, to use your grandfather or grandmother's name as your own middle name. And my husband, High Five Flexington, God rest his soul, was the best grandfather Mr. Torg could have asked for before he passed. He taught Mr. Torg dang near everything he knew about firearms. Without High Five's teachings, I don't think the Torg Corporation would exist at all. Gosh, I still remember the first gun Mr. Torg tried to make after his parents died. A Jacobs shotgun with a stick of dynamite attached to the barrel. Torg nearly blew his face off, but he got up, dusted his mustache off, and swore that by the time he reached the age of 11, he would make a gun that fired explosions without killing the operator. And by golly, he did! It took a couple of dozen prototypes before he got the right combination of gun parts and explosives, right? But once he did, woo-wee! I'll never forget the plume of smoke that used to be in my neighbor's homestead. They were jerks, though, so it's okay. Gosh, I've been talking your ear off for some time, haven't I? It's so kind of you to listen for this long. I've taken up too much of your time already. Please, don't feel like you have to stick around any longer. As a matter of fact, take this for giving this old woman some company. Woo! You're even more attractive than Mr. Torg said you were. I've got another story for you, but I'd like to tell it to all of your friends at once. An old lady like me has to save her voice, you know. Oh, you still want to talk with me? How incredibly sweet of you. Say, you'll never guess who I saw today. Captain Scarlet. She was robbing my retirement home with a few other brigands, and I recognized her for her wanted poster, and I said, oh, hey, you fought the Vault Hunter, didn't you? And she bowed all elegantly and said something like, indeed I did, madam. and said that you were really good at fighting and that you beat her fair and square. She didn't seem to harbor much of a grudge about it. Nice girl. You should think about meeting up with her again if you're not shacked up with anybody, you know? I mean, of course, you probably are. Gorgeous hunk of a vault hunter like you. I bet you're beating away suitors left and right. Look, you're blushing. Oh, I could just eat you up. Mr. Torg was so scared of trying to get a date for such a long time. He used to go to parties in high school and just stand in the back without talking to anybody.
I am an introvert!
I tried to tell him, I said, don't worry about chasing love. If you chase your dreams, then love will follow. See, that's the thing people don't get. You watch Echo films and they're just awful. They teach you that the only way to be with someone is just to pursue them over and over until they decide they like you. In reality, you know when you like someone almost immediately. You can't really convince somebody to fall in love with you. You just look like a stalker. But if you do things that you're interested in, like making guns that explode or killing mercenaries, then people will see that confidence and skill you have and they'll be attracted to it. There's always a fine line between that kind of confidence and narcissism, you know? There's nothing worse than somebody who wants to be famous. I remember when Mr. Torg first sold his weapons tech to that board of directors, he was pretty egocentric for a while. Taking pictures of himself and posting them to the EchoNet all the time. Trying to hobnob with every celebrity that used his weapons. He came back home one day with a supermodel under each arm, and I said, Mr. Torg, what are you doing? You've lost sight of who you are. It's been weeks since you actually created a new gun, I said. And it was true. He'd been more obsessed with being well known for doing something great than with actually doing something great.
It was a dark point in my life.
Thankfully, High Five listened to me and got to work on what would eventually become the Kerblaster. You a fan of the Kerblaster? That was always my favorite. That and the Flacker, which I know a lot of people hate. But there's more to combat than just brute efficiency in this old lady's eyes. Style counts for something. And there's nothing quite like filling the air with tiny little explosions. It's like a fireworks show, except the deaths aren't as sad and unexpected. Actually, that reminds me, now that you're here, I wanted to throw some ideas at you for feedback. I'm a playwright in my spare time, and I'm trying to write a story about an up-and-coming tournament fighter who tries to find love in a gladiatorial arena. And I figure you've got a lot of experience, so your feedback could really be valuable. So the play is called Broken Hearts and Broken Necks. Scene 1. Fade in on an arena, just after a battle. Body parts litter the stage. A lone warrior stands in the middle of the stage. A spotlight illuminating her blood-stained arm. She's there, holding her sword triumphantly aloft. Valkyrie. Is there no warrior who can challenge me? Must I be destined to spend my life as the strongest, the bravest, the most invincible warrior this galaxy has seen? For I am Valkyrie, scourge of the gladiatorial games! Exhort aloud as she shakes her head in despair. From stage left enter Noble, a janitor with a heavy heart and an even heavier conscience. He begins sweeping the body parts into a line, which is colored green, and remember that because that's the color come up, until melancholy overtakes him. He drops his bush broom to the floor and falls to his knees before delivering a heart-wrenching soliloquy. The blood cannot be washed away, not before and not now, even as I attempt to escape the past which haunts me still. Must I live forever as a fraud, sweeping up the trash of others to hide my shame and avoid my pursuers? Must I forever remain on the periphery of joyful combat, ever watchful but never participating? With a clatter of honor, Valkyrie re-enters the stage right. Valkyrie. Good morrow, lowly janitor. I heard a noise and thought it worth investigating. No. Oh, great Valkyrie, 'twas nothing but the wails of those souls you released from their bodies tonight. Souls that wail in agony as they fly upward to Valhalla. Fools! What have they to wail about? Their agonies are over, ended at the point of my sword. Mine, however, have only yet begun. For it is lonely at the top, and an unchallenged life is a boring one. No doubt, as if only I were able to tell her my true identity, I would give her a fight she would not soon forget. Back to her. Yes, ma'am, boredom is the true tragedy. May you one day find challenge in combat. Stupid. No doubt picks up a giant two-armed bastard sword with almost no effort. Thou come on, listen. What is this? Excellent. Stage left. Falcon. What strength this janitor possessed? Who is he to pick up a bastard sword with 2 fingers? What hidden power does he hold? What secrets does he keep? I will endeavor to uncover his past in the hopes that our swords may cross in battle! Excellent. End of scene. Scene 2. The interior of the governor's house. The table is set with myriad teas and biscuits. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even ask you for the feedback on the first scene. Did you like it? Rewriting to do. Sorry for wasting your time. You're not busy. I've got another story for you, but I'd like to tell it to all of your friends at once. An old lady like me has to save her voice, you know. Still want to talk with me? How incredibly sweet of you. Say, you'll never guess who I saw today. Captain Scarlet. She was robbing my retirement home with a few other brigands, and I recognized her from her wanted poster, and I said, "Oh, hey, you fought the Vault Hunter, didn't you?" And she bowed all elegantly and said something like, "Indeed I did, madam," and said that you were really good at fighting, and that you beat her fair and square. She didn't seem to harbor much of a grudge about it. Nice girl. You should think about meeting up with her again if you're not shacked up with anybody, you know? I mean, of course, you probably are. Gorgeous hunk of a Vault Hunter like you. I bet you're beating away suitors left and right. Look, you're blushing. Oh, I could just eat you up. Mr. Torg was so scared of trying to get a date for such a long time. He used to go to parties in high school and just stand in the back without talking to anybody.
I am an introvert!
I tried to tell him, I said, don't worry about chasing love. If you chase your dreams, then love will follow. See, that's the thing people don't get. You watch Echo films and they're just awful. They teach you that the only way to be with someone is just to pursue them over and over until they decide they like you. In reality, you know when you like someone almost immediately. You can't really convince somebody to fall in love with you. You just look like a stalker. But if you do things that you're interested in, like making guns that explode or killing mercenaries, then people will see that confidence and skill you have, and they'll be attracted to it. There's always a fine line between that kind of confidence and narcissism, you know? There's nothing worse than somebody who wants to be famous. I remember when Mr. Torg first sold his weapons tech to that board of directors, he was pretty egocentric for a while. Taking pictures of himself and posting them to the EchoNet all the time. Trying to hobnob with every celebrity that used his weapons. He came back home one day with a supermodel under each arm, and I said, "Mr. Torg, what are you doing? You've lost sight of who you are. It's been weeks since you actually created a new gun," I said. And it was true. He'd been more obsessed with being well known for doing something great than with actually doing something great.
It was a dark point in my life.
Thankfully, High Five listened to me and got to work on what would eventually become the Kerblaster. You a fan of the Kerblaster? That was always my favorite. That and the Flacker, which I know a lot of people hate. But there's more to combat than just brute efficiency in this old lady's eyes. Style counts for something. And there's nothing quite like filling the air with tiny little explosions. It's like a fireworks show, except the deaths aren't as sad and unexpected. Actually, that reminds me, now that you're here, I wanted to throw some ideas at you for feedback. I'm a playwright in my spare time, and I'm trying to write a story about an up-and-coming tournament fighter who tries to find love in a gladiatorial arena. And I figure you've got a lot of experience, so your feedback could really be valuable. So the play is called Broken Hearts and Broken Necks. Scene 1. Fade in on an arena, just after a battle. Body parts litter the stage. A lone warrior stands in the middle of the stage. A spotlight illuminating her blood-stained armor. She's there, holding her sword triumphantly aloft. Valkyrie. Is there no warrior who can challenge me? Must I be destined to spend my life as the strongest, the bravest, the most invincible warrior this galaxy has seen? For I am Valkyrie, scourge of the gladiatorial games! Excellent, Valkyrie, as she shakes her head in despair. From stage left, enter Nova, a janitor with a heavy heart and an even heavier conscience. He begins sweeping the body parts into a bin, which is colored green, and remember that because that's a symbolic color of correct, until melancholy overtakes him. He drops his breaststroke to the floor and falls to his knees before delivering a heart-wrenching soliloquy. The blood cannot be washed away, not before and not now, even as I attempt to escape the past which haunts me still. Must I live forever as a fraud, sweeping up the trash of others to hide my shame and avoid my pursuers? Must I forever remain on the periphery of joyful combat, ever watchful but never participating? With the clatter of armor, Valkyrie re-enters from stage right. Good morrow, lowly janitor. I heard a noise and thought it worth investigating. Oh, great Valkyrie, 'twas nothing but the wails of those souls you released from their bodies tonight. Souls that wail in agony as they fly upward to Valhalla. Fools! What have they to wail about? Their agonies are over, ended at the point of my sword. Mine, however, have only yet begun, for it is lonely at the top, and an unchallenged life is at the forefront. No doubt, listen. If only I were able to tell her my true identity, I would give her a fight she would not soon forget. Back to back. Yes, ma'am, boredom is the true tragedy. May you one day find challenge in combat. Stupid. Nodon picks up a giant two-armed bastard sword with almost no effort. Valkyrie is on. What is this? Excellent. Stage left. Valkyrie. What strength this janitor possessed? Who is he to pick up a bastard sword with 2 fingers? What hidden power does he hold? What secrets does he keep? I will endeavor to uncover his past, in the hopes that our swords may cross in battle! Excellent. Scene 2. The interior of the governor's house. The table is set with myriad teas and biscuits. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even ask you for the feedback on the first scene. Did you like it? Rewriting too. Sorry for wasting your time. Oh no, you're leaving? I won't take it. On your time, then.
Welcome to Hallowed Hollow, the only community for Pandora's exiled and retired undead. I'm the town's lookout, TK Baja. Why don't you come on and find me, would you? Just follow the sound of the blind redneck zombie's voice.
Lately, a real sourpuss named the Pumpkin Kingpin's been hassling the townsfolk. They're so scared these days, they won't even step outside. Why don't you get out there and give them the old 1-2 for me?
Should be in that clearing on the other side of that gate. Oh, horseradish. The Kingpin must have cast a locking spell on this gate. You're gonna need an enchanted skeleton key. Why don't you dig up some graves and let's find ourselves some enchanted bones, you hear? folks buried there must have been normal types. We're gonna need the bones of wizards to create a working skeleton key. Keep on looking.
Take a big!
Something awesome.
Yeah, pretty good.
Like an enchanted skeleton right there. Why don't you give him a wallop, and you should be a step or two closer to making a skeleton key. That's one of the enchanted bones you'll need. Once you find the others and make the key, you'll be able to go toe-to-toe with the Pumpkin Kingpin himself. Yeehaw! skeleton. I haven't been this happy since that time I got killed. can make yourself a skeleton key. Enchanted skeleton! Why don't you drop him quicker than an uncomfortable subject at a family dinner?
Super robot violence one time!
Alright! Now that you got all the enchanted bones, why don't you head to the blacksmith's and forge yourself a skeleton key? While you're there, tell Sully the blacksmith that I said hi. blacksmith's hammer to make the key. Now, where could he be? Sully? Hey, Sully! You got a customer over here? Oh, there he is! Why don't you ask him for his hammer, would you? I'm sure he'll hand it over if you ask him nicely.
Number 505!
Come around. Nevertheless, you better get that hammer from him. All right. Now, smack those bones together and forge yourself a skeleton key. Find the Pumpkin Kingpin's lair and make the rivers run orange with pumpkin guts.
merchandise anywhere else. I made sure of that. Pleasure doing business. Don't die. I need a minute.
This is definitely where the Pumpkin Kingpin lives. He ain't here. Must be sleeping underground.
I am such a BA.
Oh, I bet if you flood the area, you'd probably have to come up for air. Go on and head to the windmill.
Fun!
Windmill ain't working, is it? Oh, great horny toads. Must be the scrap nesting up there in the blades. Better clear them all out. I'm sorry. I bet this is frustrating for you.
I am the greatest engineer alive!
Those abominations there were made by good old Dr. Zed. Speaking of which, have you seen Zed or Ned lately? What about Ted? Oh, wait. I'm so sorry. We ain't supposed to talk about the forbidden brother. My bad. And Scrat tell legends of the creature who kicked him out of the Iridium Blight. Said there was a real big,
Robot
small,
fight
or
time!
normal-sized man or woman, and that there was 1 to 4 of them. The legends are pretty vague.
Don't screw with my bot, suckers!
Windmill's going, so the blood's pumping, and everything's ready for a final showdown with the Pumpkin Kingpin. Whenever you're ready, just head back to the Kingpin's domicile. That windmill powers our hemoglobin pumps. Got a few vampires in town, and, well, they make milkshakes out of blood. I had one once. It was all right.
Bastard!
Hollow is safe once again. Come on back for your reward wherever you want, old pal.
Coming on by, stranger. As payment for my watchfulness, I asked the town folks for my favorite candy, sugary brain bites. I ain't been able to collect any though since my zombie polio started acting up again. Could you make the rounds for me and maybe bring me back as much brain-flavored candy as you can?
Baby gums. I've been trying to wean myself off actual brains for a while now. And those candies there sure do the trick, don't they? Why don't you get me some more, would you? Brain bites got all the taste of brains without all the hassle of chasing and murdering and looking at your bloody hands screaming, "Oh God, what have I become?" For this town might be born a sin, but that there candy makes the whole deal worthwhile. Yeehaw!
beginning of something awesome.
Sugary brain bites. Hey, you got enough candy to keep me on a gray matter sugar high for months. Why don't you come on back?
Yay! Candy! Thanks a bunches. Before I eat all these, I'm gonna squish them together into a big lump and pretend it's the brain of somebody I don't like. Nah, who am I kidding? There ain't nobody I don't like. They're all delicious.
Once upon a time, the Vault Hunters played a game.
The world is on the brink of going boom boom. This is our most desperate hour. Unless we make a stand, here and now, we gonna die. Now. Roll for initiative!
What's initiative?
It says which order we attack in.
I punched the initiative.
What's going on? I wasn't paying attention.
Tina, why don't you start over?
Welcome, fine ladies, to your first session of the most coolest game in the world, Bunkers and Badasses! As your bunker master, I will be spinning today's tale of fantasy and...
Wait, why the hell are we playing this kid's game?
Oh, you know, maybe because... Shut the hell up, Morty!
Tina? She's right, though. Shut up.
While our vault hunting buddies beat the slamma-jamma out of that Hyperion informant downstairs, I thought we could play a game. Now, pick your characters. You got the Necromancer, the Commando, the Siren...
Siren. Dibs. My Siren's name is Brick, and she is the prettiest.
Tina, why don't we just start now and figure that out later?
Come on, girl. You know we gotta wait for Roland before we start.
Tina, Roland's... You know Roland's not coming, right? He's not here anymore.
Yeah, he's probably running late or something. We'll just start now. So, like I said... Roll for initiative, suckers! You arrive at the docks of Flame Rock Refuge. This place used to be really nice, until the handsome sorcerer messed everything up.
I say we head toward the town to investigate.
It's a lovely day in Flame Rock Refuge, a far cry from...
Wait, didn't you just say the sorcerer messed up the town? Why would things be lovely?
Whoops. What I meant to say is, it's eternal night, and you hear spooky music, and the whole area kind of smells like butts and dead people.
I smell butts and dead people.